A typhoon is a tropical storm occurring especially in the region of the Philippines or the China Sea. It is basically a cyclone originating from the northwestern Pacific Ocean. The storm's areas of activities expand from the north of equator to the west of international dateline. Reportedly, these basins received the strongest cyclones. Their typhoons are not limited to any particular season of the year. They form mostly between May and November. Usually, a typhoon is accompanied by heavy rainfalls and can generate a heavy wind up to 290 kilometers per hour. Its coverage area can expand up to 800 kilometers. Every year, Japan receives significant damage from such tropical storms. The rainfall caused by a typhoon can lead to severe landslides and devastating tides. Typhoons normally move along a looping track. These courses were identified by analyzing the path record of typhoons formed between 980 and 2005. There are three most common paths of typhoons. The straight path is the westward path of typhoon across the Philippines, Taiwan, southern China, and Vietnam. The curving path of typhoons is the most devastating, inflicting damage more than any other path. It lies across China, Korea, Taiwan, and Vietnam. Typhoons sometimes follow a northward path from their origin, but only affect some small island along the path. The terms typhoon and hurricane are two different names for the same type of tropical system or cyclone. These terms have a mass of Earth that spirals around a low-pressure center more than 74 mph if they're formed in the western hemisphere, North Atlantic. Then there are called hurricanes, while in the eastern hemisphere, they are given the name typhoon or Northwest Pacific Ocean. These tropical disturbances are accompanied by rain, thunder, and lightning. A typhoon is formed when warm air and cold air collide together and then rotate in counterclockwise direction. They spin until the wind gets strong enough to form the typhoon. The eye of a typhoon has clear skies and light winds, but outside the eye, strong winds spiral around, and this storms often bringing heavy precipitation. A typhoon can persist as long as 2 weeks or even more over an open sea. So hi everyone, my name is Havana Faye G. Malina, and today we're gonna talk about typhoon. So typhoon is a mature tropical cyclone that develops between 180° and 180° E in the northern hemisphere. It is a common misconception to believe these are only called typhoons. Hurricanes is also a common term for storms generated in this same area. Citation needed. This region is referred to as the Northwestern Pacific Basin and is the most active tropical cyclone basin on Earth, accounting for almost one-third of the world's annual tropical cyclones. For organizational purposes, the Northern Pacific Ocean is divided into three regions: the Eastern North America to 140° W, Central 140° W to 180°, and Western 180° to 100° E. The Regional Specialized Meteorological Center, or RSMC, for tropical cyclone forecast is in Japan, with other tropical cyclone warming centers for the Northwest Pacific in Hawaii. The Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the Philippines, and Hong Kong, while the RSMC names each system. The main name list itself is coordinated among 18 countries that have territories threatened by typhoons each year. Only the Philippines use their own naming list for systems approaching the country. A typhoon differs from a cyclone or hurricane only on the basis of location. A hurricane is a storm that occurs in the Atlantic Ocean or Northwestern Pacific Ocean. A typhoon occurs in the Northwestern Pacific Ocean, and a tropical cyclone occurs in the South Pacific or Indian Ocean. Within the Northwestern Pacific, there are no official typhoon seasons as tropical cyclones from throughout the year. Like any tropical cyclone, there are 6 main requirements for typhoon formation and development: sufficiently warm sea surface temperatures, atmospheric instability, high humidity in the lower to middle levels of the troposphere, enough Coriolis force to develop a low pressure center, a pre-existing low level focus or disturbance, and low vertical wind shear while the majority of storms form between June and November. A few storms do occur between December and May, although tropical cyclone formation is at a minimum during that time. On average, the Northwestern Pacific features the most numerous and intense tropical cyclones globally. Like other basins, they are steered by the subtropical range towards the west or northwest, with some systems recurving near and east of Japan. The Philippines receive the brunt of the landfalls, with China and Japan being impacted slightly less. Some of the deadliest typhoons in history have struck China. Southern China has the longest record of typhoon impacts for the region, with 1,000-year sample via documents within their archives. Taiwan has received the wettest known typhoon on record for the Northwest Pacific tropical cyclones basins. So, how typhoons are formed? 1. Typhoon starts off as tropical thunderstorms. The strong winds pull in moisture from the oceans. 2. The thunderstorms convert the moisture into heat. The heat causes more air to flow to the center of the storm, causing evaporation. 3. All the heat and air flow toward the eye, creating the typhoon. 3 different tropical cyclones spinning over the western Pacific Ocean on August 7, 2016. Maria, Bufa, Siomai, Typhoon Haiyan, known as Super Typhoon Yolanda in the Philippines, was one of the strongest tropical cyclones ever recorded. On making landfall, Haiyan devastated portions of Southeast Asia, particularly the Philippines. It is the deadliest Philippine typhoon on record, killing at least 6,300 people in that country alone. In terms of GTWC estimated 1 minute sustained winds, Haiyan is tied with Mirante for being the strongest landfalling tropical cyclone on record. In January 2014, bodies were still being found. 30th named storm of the 2013 Pacific typhoon season. Haiyan originated from an area of low pressure several hundred kilometers east-southeast of Phuoc in the Federated States of Micronesia. On November 2, 2013, tracking generally westward environment conditions favored tropical cyclogenesis, and the system developed into a tropical depression in the following day. After becoming a tropical storm and attaining the name Haiyan at UTC on November 4, the system began a period of rapid intensification that brought it to typhoon intensity by 1,800 UTC on November 5. By November 6, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, or GTWC, assessed the system as a Category 5 equivalent super typhoon on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. Passed over the island of Carangel in Palau shortly after attaining his strength. Thereafter, it continued to intensify at 1,200 UTC on November 7. The Japan Meteorological Agency, or GMA, upgraded the storm's maximum 10-minute sustained winds to 230 kilometers per hour or 145 mph, the highest in relation to the cyclone. The Hong Kong Observatory put the storm's maximum 10-minute sustained winds at 285 km per hour or 180 mph prior to landfall in the central Philippines, while the China Meteorological Administration estimated the maximum 2-minute sustained winds at the time to be around 7 to 8 meters per second, or 280 kilometers per hour or 175 mph. At the same time, the GTWC estimated the system's 1-minute sustained winds to 315 kilometers per hour or 195 mph, and officially making Haiyan the strongest tropical cyclone ever observed based on wind speed, a record which would then be surpassed by Hurricane Patricia in 2015 at 345 kilometers per hour or 215 mph. Haiyan is also tied with Typhoon Mirante in 2016 as the strongest tropical cyclone in the eastern hemisphere by 1 minute sustained winds. Several others have recorded lower central pressure readings. At UTZ on November 7, the eye of the cyclone made its first landfall in the Philippines at Gurar, Eastern Samar at peak strength. Gradually weakening, the storm made 5 additional landfalls in the country before emerging over the South China Sea. Turning northwestward, the typhoon eventually struck northern Vietnam as a severe tropical storm on November 10. Haiyan was last noted as a tropical depression by the GMA the following day. The cyclone caused catastrophic destruction in the Visayas, particularly on Samar and Leyte. According to UN officials, about 10 million people were affected. Many were left